Hey, what's going on, everyone? Josh here with Piano Marvel. Today, I am very excited to be showing you one of my favorite technical routines and collection of music. And it was recommended to me by Dr. Tracy Sheehan. So, shout out to Dr. Tracy Sheehan. Unfortunately, right now on this date, this is June 1st, 2023. We don't have the rights to share it with everyone in Piano Marvel. So right now, I'm only sharing it with people that show me that they've bought the series on Amazon and have the books, and then I'll share it with them. Um, so with that being said, let me show you this routine, this regimen, and how I use it. So right now, what I've been doing for it's been I think almost a year now. I should look it up. I haven't done it, but um, I basically go through. So where I am now is different than where I started. Okay, so when I first started, I did these single note scales, and I worked up to being able to play all of them in a row. Now it took time, okay? I think everyone will kind of figure out a routine on how to use these scales and what works best for them. But where I'm at currently is I can play this morning when I played at 109 beats per minute, and I do it with the metronome only, and I just go through here.
Set,
And you
go.
can see it just takes 6.5 minutes for me to play through this, and then you play all your scales. So you do the major, and then you switch to the harmonic minor. It's relative minor. And you just go around the circle of fifths. It's actually the circle of fourths because you go to the flats. And then here's F major. And you just do that for 6.5 minutes. Now, obviously, I didn't start off that fast, and you can see that I have a chopped and a minced. So I was going through them and doing it in a way that I could play them all. Because the goal of this routine, and this is what Dr. Sheehan recommended me, is be able to play. I got out of this routine of playing my scales every single day because I thought I was good, but I'd always wanted to play my scales in contrary motion. Because it's a fun thing to do, and I'm nerdy. So it was a fun challenge, and the whole goal though of this, I'm getting sidetracked, is to be able to like what she said to me is how can anyone expect to play a 10-minute or actually it was a 30-minute sonata like a Beethoven or something like sonata if you're constantly playing notes. If you can't play 10 minutes of scales, you know that's the whole thing, is like if you can't do that, then how can you play? And I think that's the argument too for things like Hanon, which takes an hour to play through or 2 hours to play through. I haven't gone through all the Hanon, but I think that's the argument for these kind of things, is if you can't play consistently for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, how are you going to play a sonata? And without getting super sidetracked, I will say I felt my sight reading get better from this, because it's not just scales that you're doing. You're definitely doing scales, and there's also chromatic scales and octaves. So, and this was a recent addition. It's all part of this curriculum, but. So you do that pattern, then you do it in thirds, you do it in tenths, you do it in sixths. Man. Okay, I'm failing on it, but I do this every morning, and I do it at a speed, and we're getting down to the logistics. You'll figure it out yourself, but I do it at a speed that's not like terrifying. Like I went down to like 90 for the longest time, like every day for like a month or 2 months or something like that. 90, which is very leisurely for me. And now I'm getting to the point where every day I go one tick faster. But what I do every single day is I do single note scales, chromatic scales, octaves, chromatic scales, thirds, tenths, sixths, and that takes me 9 or 10 minutes. It's really fast. I just go through it once, and I usually get 100%. And then I go through usually the next thing I do in my day, and this is what's been helping with my sight reading too, is you do chords practice. Okay, so I go immediately from doing scales into doing chords, and I've already finished book 2. So now instead of doing book 2, I just skip straight to book 3. And like today, since I've already gone through, and this took me about a week, and it'll take longer the first time you do whatever, but now, I just play through real quickly, um, you know, this little pattern. Today I did it at 65. I got a 100%.
Set. Go.
And you're just doing 11 different chords. And it's teaching you basically just to play, I'm going too fast and I'm getting sloppy and it seems like I haven't learned anything, but you're basically learning to do that, and you do it like that, or you go. So you do that and then you go down, and then you do, so you do different patterns. And I've just noticed my sight reading improve a lot because you're learning to see and feel chords, and you're learning many different chords. So I would really, really recommend this series. There's 2 more books in this series. There's volume 4 and volume 5. Volume 5 is doing scales and thirds, which I've never learned. But you're doing it with both hands. I can't even do it. So I know that that's one thing, and I forget what volume 4 is. It may be like octave stuff. I don't even know. But really excited about this series. Excited to have you interested in it, and I hope you enjoy, me giving you some tips. So again, this is, as of June 1st, 2023, how I go through it every day. I do my scales, and since I've learned all these and got them to a certain speed, now it's just like basically every day trying to basically either maintain it at one speed or like ticking up one speed. I may get to 120 or 130. I was at a block of 120 where it was just too much, and that's when I went all the way down to 90. And I do every scale at that. So single note scales, the chromatic scales, octaves, thirds, 10. I go at the same speed. So I'm up to 109. Tomorrow I'll do 110. Then immediately from there, I go into and I do one of these chords. Now, if I'm learning these chords from brand new scratch, I've gotten to the point now where I can you can see when I learned this, I did, G major. And this is what I did in one day. I did G major, G minor, E flat major, E minor, C major, C minor, all in one day. Because I didn't have to go through it slow. But when I first started doing this, all I would do in one day is like C major right hand. And maybe that was it. Maybe I just did C major right hand, and C major left hand, like on different days, so just figure out what works for you. But once you get it, once you get further along, I've gone through all 12 keys and broken chords, and then doing it in this Russian style, I quickly, since it's very similar to this, it's not that hard to go. I know I don't look like it. It's different, but I almost can just do it in chopped now where I don't have to do it hand separate. And that's, so figure out what works for you. But just the goal is to do scales and chords every single day. That's what I've been told by Dr. Sheehan, is that it will help you in your overall pianistic technical, journey, is doing chords and scales. And the whole goal is to warm yourself up. You're not really necessarily you're definitely not going for speed. Okay. You want to go to a speed that's comfortable and not something that's like wearing you out. Now, there may be some pride involved. I know I probably stayed at some speeds longer because, and you'll even see in the single note scales that I've gone up to some crazy fast speeds, but the goal is not always going to be speed. It's going to, sometimes just be duration. Like I said, you want to be able to play a long thing and just warm up your fingers. I mean, really, I think that's how it was stressed to me by Dr. Sheehan, is to use this as a warm up. And don't worry if you miss a couple notes here and there. Now, obviously, if you miss a lot of notes on a scale, or something, you can do it over again. Today, when I was playing, I forget what key it was. It may have been E flat minor, which is a hard one, or maybe even an easier one. I don't even know. But I messed up a little bit. Actually, the scales were fine. It was these things. I forget what key it was, but afterwards, I just real quick after I got the score in piano, I still got 100, but I just, whatever it was, if it was C major, I went to without piano roll even going. I just quickly played it. I just did the one key that was a little difficult, and then I moved on, you know? So in 10, 15 minutes, like, I'm moving on and I'm warmed up, you know, maybe 15 minutes, you know, 15, 20 minutes max. Uh, I'm warmed up. So don't hold me to any of those numbers. Do what's fun for you, but the goal is to use this as a warm up. You're working these into your hands. The last thing that Dr. Sheehan mentioned to me is to view your scales kind of as if you were a marathon runner, you know, just because you've run a mile at 6 minutes once or even 4 minutes once, it's not like you're a master. You never need to do it again. It's like, okay, how much can you do that? Can you do that every single day? Or can you only do 4 minute mile one day? And then, you know, the next day you have to do 9 minutes because you were so worn out. Like, you want to, like, consistently see. It's kind of like that. It's not like, okay, you've done your scales at 140, you're done forever. It's like, okay, can you do all your scales at 140? You know? Or and to be fair, Dr. Sheehan, she says that she warms up at 132. Like, that's her speed. 144. She doesn't play through all her scales at 144. Is what she said. I don't know if she's even going to be okay with me saying that, or maybe she just said that to be nice and, you know, give me a goal to go for. But as you can see, I've only gone through, I don't even know how many times I've gone through it at 132. 3 times. So not a lot of times that I'm going that fast. I've managed to get 100, but it's probably not nearly as clean. I guarantee it's not nearly as clean as she would do it. So, yeah, I hope this video was helpful, and it gives you some insight in how you can do scales and chords every day in your practice so that you can become a better pianist. And yeah, I hope you love this curriculum just as much as I do. Thank you so much. Talk to you later.